Picture this. A man stands alone in his sleek, modern kitchen, the glow of his phone casting shadows across his face. On the screen, his wife of nearly 2 decades laughs, her voice dripping with confidence as she flaunts a sapphire necklace that glints like a promise of betrayal. She's not where she said she'd be. She's not who he thought she was. And in that moment, everything he's built, his home, his savings, his trust, teeters on the edge of collapse. But this isn't a story of defeat. It's a story of strategy, resilience, and a man who turns the tables on those who underestimated him. Stay with me, because by the end, you'll see how one calculated move can change everything, and you'll want to share your thoughts on what you'd do in his shoes. My name is Nathan Carter, a 48-year-old cybersecurity expert living in Seattle. At 6:03 p.m. on a rainy Thursday in April 2025, I sat at my kitchen island, watching my wife, Lila Carter, unravel our marriage in a 45-second video. This is the story of how I uncovered her deception, outsmarted her accomplice, and rebuilt my life on my own terms. Buckle up, it's a wild ride. I met Lila when we were both 30, at a tech conference in San Francisco. I was a rising star at a cybersecurity firm, methodical and reserved, while Lila, a marketing director for a biotech startup, was a whirlwind of charisma. She could light up a room with her smile, and I was drawn to her energy like a moth to a flame. We married 8 months later, a whirlwind romance that felt like destiny. "You're the anchor, I'm the sail," she'd say, and for years, that dynamic worked. I built our financial foundation with precision. I maxed out our 401(k)s, invested in tech stocks that soared, and bought our Seattle townhouse when the market dipped. My spreadsheets tracked every dollar, while Lila brought spontaneity, impromptu trips to Napa, lavish dinner parties, connections that opened doors for my freelance consulting gigs. We were a team, or so I thought. The first hint of trouble came 4 years ago. I found a $4,500 charge on our joint credit card for a designer watch, not for me or any occasion I could recall. "It's for my brother's promotion," Lila said, her eyes avoiding mine. When her brother visited months later, his wrist was bare. I let it slide, chalking it up to a misunderstanding. But the signs kept piling up: late-night client dinners, a new personal stylist who texted at odd hours, weekend retreats with old college friends that left her distant upon return. As a cybersecurity expert, my job is to spot anomalies, patterns that don't align, data that signals a breach. And at home, the anomalies were mounting. Lila's phone became a fortress, always face down, her notifications silenced. She'd smile at texts I couldn't see, her laughter brighter than it had been for me in years. I didn't confront her. Instead, I watched, waited, and prepared. 2 years ago, I took on a high-stakes contract with Nexus Tech, a cloud computing giant. To protect my assets, I created an LLC, Carter Security Solutions, and restructured our finances. On paper, Lila and I shared a joint investment account, but I quietly moved 65% of our portfolio, over $1.20 million, into accounts tied to my LLC. Lila signed the paperwork without a glance, her trust in my financial acumen absolute. That trust would become her undoing. On that April evening, my phone buzzed with a video message from Lila. She was supposed to be in Tacoma, visiting her cousin, but the backdrop of her video told a different story: a penthouse suite with floor-to-ceiling windows, a view of a city I didn't recognize. She wore a sapphire necklace I'd never seen, her champagne glass raised in a mock toast. "Don't worry, Nathan," she said, her voice laced with mockery. You'll figure it out. You always do. Behind her, a man's silhouette moved in the shadows, his laughter low and unfamiliar. I replayed the video, my heart steady but my mind racing. The necklace, the suite, the man, it all pointed to a truth I'd sensed but refused to face. Lila wasn't just cheating, she was dismantling our life. I checked our joint accounts on my laptop. An attempted withdrawal of $900,000 from our retirement fund had been flagged as pending, requiring my authorization. She'd tried to drain it without me knowing. I called our bank immediately. "This is Nathan Carter. I did not authorize this transaction. I suspect fraud." The representative's tone shifted to urgency. "We'll freeze the account and open an investigation, Mr. Carter. Can you provide any supporting evidence?" I sent them the video, Lila's smug confession preserved in high definition. The freeze was in place within hours. I walked through our townhouse that night, seeing it with new eyes. The minimalist furniture Lila had chosen, the abstract art I'd never liked, the wine fridge she insisted on despite my preference for craft beer. This wasn't our home, it was hers, a stage for the life she wanted to project. I opened my safe, hidden behind a false panel in my office, and pulled out a binder I'd been compiling for 6 months. Bank statements, investment records, and screenshots of Lila's suspicious transactions. I was ready. The next morning, I contacted Mia Torres, a forensic accountant I'd worked with on a corporate espionage case. Over coffee at a bustling downtown cafe, I laid out my suspicions. "Lila's been moving money," I said, sliding my binder across the table. "Small amounts at first, now larger. I need to know where it's going and why." Mia's eyes narrowed as she flipped through the documents. "This is meticulous, Nathan. You've been tracking her for a while." I nodded. I didn't want to believe it, but I couldn't ignore the data. She agreed to dig deeper, promising a report within 48 hours. While Mia worked, I met with my lawyer, Ethan Hayes, a sharp-minded attorney with a knack for high-stakes divorces. In his sleek office overlooking Puget Sound, I shared the video and my financial moves. "She thinks she's won," I said. "But she doesn't know I've secured the assets." Ethan leaned back, a faint smile on his lips. "You're a step ahead, Nathan. Let's keep it that way. File for divorce, use the video as leverage, and let the bank's fraud investigation do the rest." Mia's report arrived 2 days later, and it was a bombshell. Lila had siphoned $92,000 from our joint accounts over 14 months, starting with $500 transfers and escalating to $10,000 chunks. The money flowed to an account owned by Marcus Reed, a 43-year-old regional director for Synergy Biotech, Lila's biggest client. Mia's digging revealed Marcus's pattern. He targeted 3 other married women in similar roles, charming them, draining their finances, and vanishing when the marriages collapsed. "He's a predator," Mia said, her voice grim. The transfers to Marcus started right after Synergy expanded Lila's territory. "He's been coaching her, Nathan." The retirement fund withdrawal? His fingerprints are all over it, the forged signatures, the timing before a long weekend to delay detection. I felt a chill, not just at Lila's betrayal but at the calculated nature of Marcus's scheme. Was Lila a willing accomplice or another victim? Her confident smirk in the video suggested she knew enough. I forwarded Mia's report to Ethan, who added it to our divorce filing. We also sent an anonymous tip to Synergy Biotech's ethics board, hinting at Marcus's conflicts of interest. The dominoes were starting to fall. 5 days after the video, Lila showed up at our townhouse, her polished exterior fraying. Her hair was disheveled, her designer coat wrinkled. "Nathan, we need to talk," she said, pushing past me. "The bank's frozen our accounts. They're saying it's fraud." "What did you do?" I kept my tone even. "I reported an unauthorized attempt to drain our retirement fund." "You forged my signature, Lila? That's a crime." Her eyes flashed with defiance, then softened into a play. "It's a misunderstanding. Marcus said it was our money, that we could start fresh. He's got investments, Nathan. We could have been happy." "Marcus Reed," I said, watching her flinch at his name. "The man who's done this to 3 other women?" "I know everything, Lila. The $92,000 you sent him, the forged documents, his history. Our lawyer knows. The bank knows. Synergy's ethics board knows." Her face crumpled, the mask of confidence gone. "You set me up," she whispered. "No," I said. "You set yourself up. I just protected what's mine." She tried to pivot, tears welling as she reached for my hand. "We can fix this, Nathan. I was stupid, but I love you." I stepped back. "The divorce papers are filed. Talk to my lawyer." She left, her heels clicking on the hardwood, a sound I'd once found comforting now hollow. As the divorce proceedings began, I uncovered a new layer to the story. Mia's research led to Elena Voss, a former colleague of Lila's who'd been burned by Marcus 2 years earlier. Over a secure video call, Elena shared her story. Marcus had charmed her, convinced her to invest $70,000 in a fake biotech venture, then ghosted her when her marriage imploded. "He's a con artist," Elena said. "But Lila? She's not innocent. She knew what she was doing." Elena's testimony was a game changer. She agreed to join our case, providing bank records that mirrored Lila's transfers. But then came the twist. Lila contacted me, her voice trembling in a voicemail. "Nathan, Marcus is blackmailing me. He has photos, messages, things that could ruin me. I didn't know he'd done this before. Help me, please." I didn't respond directly, but I shared the voicemail with Ethan and Mia. Was Lila playing another angle, or was she genuinely trapped? Mia traced Marcus's digital footprint, uncovering an encrypted cloud account where he stored compromising material on his targets. With a court order, we accessed it, revealing not just Lila's files but evidence implicating Marcus in a broader scheme involving biotech insiders skimming profits. This wasn't just about my marriage anymore, it was about exposing a network of fraud. I partnered with Elena and another victim, Sarah Klein, to build a case. We tipped off the FBI, who escalated the investigation. Marcus's empire was crumbling, and Lila was caught in the crossfire. The divorce hearing was a spectacle. Lila sat alone, Marcus absent after being detained for questioning. The judge, a no-nonsense woman with a sharp gaze, reviewed our evidence, Mia's financial reports, Elena's testimony, the FBI's preliminary findings. "Mr. Carter," she said, "your diligence has protected your assets and exposed significant misconduct. The court awards you 80% of the marital estate, with the remainder held in escrow pending Ms. Carter's restitution." Lila avoided jail by cooperating with the FBI, providing access to Marcus's encrypted files. She was ordered to repay $92,000, a burden that forced her to sell her designer wardrobe and move to a modest apartment in Portland. Marcus faced federal charges, his predatory pattern laid bare. I recovered $1.1 million of our assets, enough to start over. 8 months later, I stood on the deck of my new loft in Seattle's Belltown, the Space Needle glowing in the distance. My consulting business was thriving, my reputation bolstered by the Nexus Tech contract. I'd started dating Claire, a data scientist with a dry wit and no tolerance for games. We were cautious, building trust one honest conversation at a time. I kept one memento from my marriage, a photo of Lila and me at our first tech conference, both young and hopeful. It wasn't about nostalgia, it was a reminder to question, to verify, to never assume trust is permanent. My accounts were secure, my passwords changed, my future mine to shape. This journey taught me 3 things. Trust must be earned daily, preparation is power, and resilience can turn betrayal into triumph. I outsmarted a predator, protected my future, and helped expose a broader scheme. But it wasn't just about winning, it was about clarity, about seeing people for who they are, not who you want them to be. What would you do if trust was broken in your life? Have you faced a betrayal and come out stronger? Drop a comment below, I'd love to hear your stories. And if this tale of strategy and redemption hooked you, hit that like button and subscribe for more stories that make you think, feel, and maybe even plan a little smarter. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.